Blinken makes an announcement trip to Iraq as the international community grapples with the Syria regime collapse. Secretary of State Anthony Blinken is welcomed by U.S. officials upon landing in Baghdad on December 13, 2023. 24. Baghdad CNN. U.S. Secretary of State Anthony Blinken made an unannounced visit to Iraq Friday to meet with Prime Minister Mohammed Shia al-Sudani as the international community grapples with the implications of the Syrian government collapse. Blinken met with Sudani for more than an hour in Baghdad, the latest in a string of meetings in Turkey and Jordan amid an urgent effort to cooperate the approach to Syria following the sudden fall of Bashar al-Assad's regime to reveal forces to last weekend. As the U.S. works with its key regional partners like Iraq, there is a particular focus on ensuring that any interim government also make sure that Syria is not used as the base for terrorism, extremism, and pose a threat to its neighbors or ally. With groups like ISIS. Blinken said Thursday he noted that the infamous terrorist group no doubt will seek to regroup. Blinken's meeting with the Iraqi Prime Minister comes days after the top U.S. military commander for the Middle East visited for the assessment of the ISIS mission inside Iraq and Syria. The two top State Department officials were also in Baghdad ahead of Blinken's visit. The U.S. is also closely watching the Iranian-backed militias in Iraq who have targeted U.S. personnel and interests in the past. National Security Advisor Jacob Sullivan noted Saturday that they could try to take advantage with the instability in Syria. Blinken, during the visit last November in the wake of the October 7th Hamas attack, had argued the Iraqi government to work to stem those attacks. Speaking after the meeting, Blinken said the U.S. and Iraq to determine to make sure that ISIS cannot re-emerge. The U.S. and Iraq had tremendous success in taking away the territorial caliphate that Daesh had created years ago, and now having put Daesh back in its box, you can't let it out, he said. Daesh is another name for ISIS. I reaffirmed for the Prime Minister our commitment to working with Iraq on security and always working for Iraq's sovereignty to make sure that that is strengthened and preserved, he said in a seeming nod to the influence of the Iranian-backed militias in the country. In all of these, what's happening in Syria does have the important impact, and it's very significant that Iraq, along with many other countries in the region and beyond, will make a best effort to support the Syrian people as they emerge from the Assad years, Blinken noted in remarks at the U.S. Embassy in the Iraqi capital. Blinken asked Sudani to crack down on Iranian-supported militias in Iraq and prevent Iran from transiting weapons through Iraq to Shia militias in Syria, U.S. official said. The official described the ask as broad and noted there will be lower-level discussions on specifics in coming days. Blinken noted that Syria is the fragile state, so it is important that nobody, especially Iran, does anything that would add to destabilization. The official said. The top U.S. diplomat also noted that Iran is very weak and there is a lot of resentment in Syria about Tehran's role in backing the Assad regime. So now would be a good time for Iran to exert its sovereignty. Sudani said they do not want to be dragged into the conflict, the official said, without providing further characterization of the Iraqi Prime Minister's response. After his stop in Iraq, Blinken will return to Aqaba, Jordan, for the ministerial on Saturday focused on efforts to reconstruct Syrian state institutions in a way that preserves Syria's unity, territorial integrity, sovereignty, security, stability, and the right of all its citizens, according to the Jordanian Foreign Ministry said. We are back in the region at the time of both real promise but also peril for Syria and for its neighbors. And the focus of our work here is to coordinate efforts across the region to support the Syrian people as they transition away from Assad's brutal dictatorship, Blinken told the press in Aqaba on Thursday. Regional leaders have agreed on the importance of the unified approach to the situation, Blinken said, noting that we're having now detailed conversations about what it exactly look like, and I would anticipate that we will see countries coming together in support of the just Beijing approach. This story has been updated with additional development.